A new feature launched in Riverside recently allows you to edit your podcast with multi-track. So if you record yourself and a guest or more guests, you can actually edit every one of those tracks individually. So this opens up a lot of possibilities because until recently this wasn't possible in Riverside and you had to make cuts and edits and whatever, and it was applying to everything at once. And of course, people have different audio, different framing, different positions on the screen, and so on. So you need to be able to edit stuff separately. And this also allows you to fix crosstalk and other issues. Let me show you how to edit with multi-track in Riverside. So when you go into your Riverside studio, you see all of the recordings you've done. And I'm going to just pick one here with myself and Brett. We had a podcast episode recording that went for quite a while. And this is the recording, and I've already created a bunch of social media clips, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm editing this episode and how you can use the multi-track feature. So click on this, and on top of this screenshot, there's an edit. I click on edit, and this opens up a new edit with this episode prepared for editing. As you see here, the transcription engine and the AI stuff has already created chapters, and it's put all the labels for the speakers in here according to the names that they chose when they showed up. So I've got this recording here. It's quite long. It's 2 hours and 15. But if you look at the bottom, you will see that the speakers are identified and colored in the same color that you see in the transcript in here. So mine is purple and Brett is kind of green. Down here, you see what looks like a timeline, which is a single track. But look at this. If you go to the right-hand side here, you can see expand tracks. So when you do that, now the two tracks are separated and the track that you're working on is actually expanded. So I can see it here. This is Brett's track. But if I click down here on this one, it expands that one, and that's my track, the purple one. And as you scrub through, you can actually, see that it's kind of keeping up with you in the transcript area, and as well on the screen here, it updates it. By default, Riverside has put the side-by-side video throughout the edit. So one of the features on this multi-track is that you can also use scenes now. And what scenes do is they allow you to sort of split your edit or your podcast episode into separate portions, and for each one of those portions you can change the layout. So for some regions I want to say, we're going to be side by side, but for other portions I want to go full screen maybe. And this is also automated. So let me show you how it's actually triggered and done. You can go to the timeline here, and of course you can do it manually. You can just go to a place, and right here, if I see myself just talking, and by the way, you can use command and mouse wheel to zoom in and see the timeline closer. And it looks like after this portion here about factors affecting revenue, whatever, on Udemy, I have a portion where Brett is talking for a while. And I also take some sips from my coffee. So right here, I would like him to be full screen. Well, this is quite easy because you can place your playhead right there at some point before he starts talking, for example. And there's a button here that says add scenes, or you can use Shift S, kind of like split, I guess. So you add this scene, watch this, and it inserts a scene boundary or a scene break right there where the playhead was. Now I can take the playhead and move it to where he stops talking right here or close to that portion, and click again on this add scene button. And I have created another scene boundary. So watch this. Inside of this scene here, I have isolated that scene right there. You see it? I'm selecting it and clicking on it. And there's a new option here on the screen that says layout. So I can actually change the layout in that scene. So I can open this up and say, you know what? I would like to have full screen layout for this one. And it is Brett in here full screen. Now, if I go before that scene, there's both of us side by side. Inside of that scene, it's him. And then when we go out of that, it's side by side again. So when I play this, watch this. The layout is going to change automatically. Okay, that's a good course for Udemy, I suppose.
Right. I think the length.
So as you can see, the layout is changing. So of course, one of the nice features again is this automation where I don't want to be going through my entire episode and doing this. I want the AI to automatically switch the cameras according to who's talking and maybe switch back to both of us when we have a bit of a quicker exchange or we kind of talk back and forth. I want to show you how that works. Right now, I just have these three scenes, right? The one that I isolated, plus the one before and one after. So how do I do this? Well, if I go to the layout side panel here, I can actually choose the layout like I did before, but this time I can choose Smart Scene. So this is going to go through the entire episode or the entire edit and figure out who should be full screen, when we should do side by side, and so on. Let's see how it works. Just click on this. And it may take a few seconds because, it's going through the entire thing and managing it all. And look at this. I have now changed the layout. And if I zoom in, you will see all of these scene changes. Look at this. These are all the scenes that it's created. Now it's going to go through them and kind of create thumbnails for them. So it may take a few seconds. But watch this. As I play, so I'm just going to go somewhere before where I didn't do it manually. And watch this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Christy. This is great.
So this here is a bit of a quick exchange, and you notice this both of us on the screen. But as this portion comes up where Brett is talking for a while, if I expand this, look, this is all him on the screen like that. Look at that. And also, at some point, maybe I'm sort of approving or saying yes or, nodding my head, whatever. It switches to both of us just for a little bit in here. Look at that.
Servers and then running it. And that software is really cheap.
And it goes back. So there's that variety of layouts, that engagement generating thing that everybody wants to have when you switch cameras back and forth a lot and keep the viewer engaged. Well, this is really great because sometimes you want to go back to the host side by side and see, okay, I'm approving or maybe nodding my head. I don't know how it's figuring this out. It's probably AI. So look at this. Now it's side by side for both of us, although it's still just Brett talking. This is not simply just a switching of the scenes based on who's talking from their audio. It's actually doing a bit of an intelligent sort of decision making there to say, you know what, it's been a while since the screen has changed. Let's go to side by side, and then goes back to the single screen. So this is really cool. So let's find a portion where I talk for a while. Look at this. This is me on the screen. And maybe Brett is approving here or saying something. But look, this is my portion right there. This is really cool because one of the ways that I also edit in other software as well, when I switch cameras, I also look at this. I go through the audio and the video, and I go, okay, this person starts talking now. And I can see on the timeline now they're probably going to be talking for a minute. But I don't want to switch the camera right away. I want to keep the camera on both of us for just a few seconds, even though this person is talking now. So let's say they've talked for like 5 or 6 or 10 minutes. Then I switch the camera to them full screen. And another one is when I go back to the side-by-side view, I don't go back exactly where they stopped talking. I may go back to the side-by-side view just before, maybe a few seconds before the person's finished talking. So have that smooth transition, and you're not just yanking the viewer out of the views and switching, and then there's another thing to process when the person starts talking and stops talking. So I do like this kind of way where, although he's still talking for a while, we are already shown side by side here. And you know what? If you don't agree with these changes, it's fine, because you can say, oh, I want to keep him talking here for some more. So if I expand his track, look at this. He's maybe finishing his idea, but we are already switched by the smart scenes. We are switched to side by side. But if I don't agree with that and I want the side by side view to switch when I start talking, I can simply grab the boundary here. If you look very closely, the mouse changes to a line or a different type of arrow, and I can just simply grab that and switch it here. So now that layout change is going to happen where I set it. So when I start talking, watch this.
So in this
which is
whole universe,
right? So you have that flexibility. And also, if you don't like to have a scene there at all, I can just click on this and remove that scene, right? So I can click on that and just delete that scene right there. So that scene is gone. The content isn't gone. I'm just selecting the scene on this scene track, if you want to call it like that. And it's quite easy to see what's happening in every scene if you look down here, because this thumbnail shows you the layout, or when you put your mouse over it, you see the layout. So this is a great advantage of the multi-track editing. It controls both tracks and it can switch between them and switch the layout and even turn off some tracks, turn them on again, and so on. And here's another cool thing. Usually in my episodes, I like myself to be on the left and the guest on the right. Well, by default, I don't know what's the decision there because the guest seems to end up on the left sometimes. Well, that's not a problem. I can actually swap these two. Watch this. If I go to the tracks panel on the right, you see the two tracks are here. So I can actually click on them and just change the order of these tracks. And now watch this. I am on the left, right? And this is actually happening everywhere. You can probably see now that all of these thumbnails are actually being updated now to reflect this change. In that case, I'm going to show up on the left now on all of the instances. So this changes the layouts in all the scenes, not just the one I was in when I did that change, right? This is a very quick way to edit and swap things around and change them on. And here's another cool feature. If I think, okay, you know what? I'm looking at my video in here and I am a bit off center. I don't know. I was keeping my head to the side or something. My camera wasn't right on me in the middle. How do I fix this? Well, there's a new feature that was added recently also in Riverside that allows you to control the cropping and framing. So watch this. I click on my video and now I go here to the crop and you see you get this 3x3 grid, which allows you to then click and move your video and frame it properly in the shot right there. And if you need to, you can also zoom in or zoom out. And there you go. Perfect positioning in there. You click outside of it to deselect. So I'm now in the perfect frame and I can carry on editing. Another advantage of the multi-track is when you need to fix crosstalk. Fixing crosstalk is when people, talk over each other or they interrupt each other and you don't want to keep that. You want to maybe silence one of them and let the other person talk. If I'm looking down in my timeline in here, I am pretty sure I can find some instances where I interrupted Brett or he interrupted me like this.
Maybe it's a two-parter.
Well,
it's a two-parter.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
All right. So how do I fix this? Well, I can expand Brett's track and I can just make a selection on that portion where he's talking. And I have two options. I can silence that. Look at this. Mute. So now that portion is muted. And you will still see him moving his mouth, right? Look at this.
Because I think a lot of, well, I don't know.
But if that's awkward, I'm going to just basically put myself full screen for that. And I may actually go in here and insert a new scene, Shift S, like we did before. And in this particular scene, I'm going to say, you know what? The layout, I want to be full screen like this. And it's just me. And there you go.
It packed with advice.
And now if the layout changes, by the way, you can go into crop mode by even double clicking on this and just moving it like that. So watch this.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. You're answering a lot of questions and you have all this experience.
There you go. So that's how easy it is to fix crosstalk because you have the control of the individual tracks. You can go and silence individual tracks. You don't need to delete anything. You just silence, you mute it, you change the view, and you're on. Another thing that I like about this multi-track feature is the fact that you can control the volume of each track. So you go to the top, again, to the tracks panel, and you see both tracks in here. And of course, you can turn off and on again one of the tracks, but you can click on this little arrow and it will show you the volume of that track. Another thing is that you can also turn on the magic audio for that track, and you can hide the video but keep the audio. Okay, so that's another way you can just keep the audio, and maybe if you're off screen and just saying, yes, I agree with something, you don't need to switch the camera maybe, but you can still keep the audio. So you can hide the video, keep the audio. 3 things: you can hide the video, you can turn on the magic audio, which processes the track with AI, and it removes the noise if you have background noise, and it tries to enhance the audio and use AI to kind of resample the voice. I don't know exactly what it's doing, but it makes the audio sound cleaner and better, usually. Take it with a grain of salt. I think this is a beta or experimental thing, but, it's probably going to get better soon. And also, like I said, the volume, I can turn only my track louder or change the volume like that, And if you expand the tracks down here, you see the track being changed. The waveform becomes, taller and shorter as you change it. And of course, when you do this, you should probably just be playing this or auditioning it to make sure it sounds good, And another thing that I like to point out with the multi-track editing is this feature is actually very, very useful when you create social media clips. Because unlike a Zoom recording where the video of yourself and the guest is side by side, or if you have more than one guest, they're all filling up the screen there in that grid view, it's very difficult to isolate those portions and crop them out and create social media clips. Maybe I just want to show Brett or myself in a social media clip. I don't need him to be on the video if he's not saying anything. Well, this is also easy because if you create social media clips from your episode, you can edit those individually because of the multi-track and just show yourself. Let me show you how it works. I will go outside of this episode and pick one of the edited magic clips that I selected. So down here, I have some clips that I selected. So I'm just going to click edit on one of them and it goes inside the editor. So right here, I have most of this clip is Brett talking. I say something at the end there, but let's say that I want to remove my portion here from this clip. Maybe it's not relevant. I'm going to select it and delete it. So now this entire clip is just Brett. Well, I don't want to show myself in this clip. Still keep the branding and the captions. So all I want to do is just grab my video and go to the tracks and just turn it off. And now Brett is going to be full screen. I can control the cropping. I can zoom out if I need to, maybe like this. I can move him like that and align. And then, of course, I need to move these captions off his face like that. I can maybe put some stuff down there. Or if you don't like it, if you want to be full screen, I can go into crop mode and just zoom in all the way like this. It's a bit blurry though. It looks better when you export this because the resolution is going to be better in exporting. So there you go. This is the social media clip. The logo's at the top. Captions are here. And because of the multi-track stuff, I can turn things off and I can just export this. And this doesn't actually affect my main edit. Whatever I do in here applies only in here. It doesn't change my big episode edit. These are all separate edits, right? So one thing that I wish I had was the ability to position and resize the videos individually, right? This is a feature that's not there yet. I'm hoping it's coming. So if I grab this corner, I would like to maybe, edit. I cannot move it around. I cannot do anything. So the only thing that I can do is crop, hide, or even flip it. If I need to flip the video, I can do that, but I cannot resize this entire box and do a different kind of placement for it. I'm hoping that's coming soon. So there you have it. You can see this is a very powerful new feature and it just brings Riverside into a completely new dimension where you can do much more with your tracks, your interviews, your podcast episodes, and hey, even turn off your guests altogether. This video was sponsored by Riverside, and Riverside is an all-in-one platform to record, stream live, edit your podcast, and publish them, and all in one, and using AI functionality to clean up your sound, remove your filler words, and the smart scenes is just amazing and saves a lot of time. So check out Riverside. The link is in the description, and there is also a coupon for you to get a discount using Christy15 at checkout. And thank you for watching this, and I will see you on the next one.